the Human Resources Appointment and Equity Committee meeting. Today is Monday, July 1st. Council Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Calling the roll, Ms. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher. Here. Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is absent at the moment. Mr. Miller. Here. Ms. Conwell.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. And Mr. Jones let us know that he would not be able to attend the meeting, and although it is not required, I would like to make a motion to excuse his absence. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Do we have any public comment?
No, Madam Chair, no one is signed in.
All right, well, I'd like to turn it over to my council colleague, Councilwoman Conwell, so she can just give us a brief overview of our guests today.
Good morning. These are our students from summer camp from Fatima Family Center. That's all right. They can join us as we proceed. And could you come up and share what the ages of the students are today and state your name for the record? You got to come up to the mic. All right. Press the button till it turns green.
I did. Hello, my name is Darrell Mays. I'm 14 years old. In the fall, will be attending Ken Academy. I'm interning in 9th grade, and my career aspirations is sports and business.
All right.
Hello, my name is Trayvell Jordan. In the fall, hello, my name is Trayvell Jordan. I am 14 years old. In the fall, I'll be attending Design Lab Early College. My career aspiration includes being an architect.
All right. Well, thank you, students, for joining us today. This is the chair, Chantel Brown, of the Health and Human Services Committee. And as we do our tour later, I can tell you more about what this committee does. So we have to proceed. So if you just sit back, and then we'll go on the tour after the committee, okay? All right.
Thank you again, Councilwoman Conwell. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to have our youth engaged in the political and public policy making. So now we'll move on to item number 4. I hope you've had a chance to review our minutes. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the June 18th meeting. Do I have a second? It's been properly moved and second. If there are no questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, excellent. We're going to go a little bit out of order as it relates to the matters that have been referred to committee. Council Clerk, will you read item B first?
Resolution number 2019-0143, adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County non-bargaining classification plan.
Excellent. And if you'll step up and state your name for the record and what it is you would like to present today.
Good morning, Madam Chair. My name is Albert Bouchahine. I'm the PRC Manager of Classification and Compensation. Before you for your consideration today are modifications to the county's non-bargaining classification plan. Changes in the department's operational needs and routine maintenance necessitate the creation of 1 new classification, the revision of 3 classifications, and the deletion of 1 classification. All the modifications before you were presented by the PRC Class and Comp staff, who have worked extensively with the Department of Human Resources and the county's management teams to ensure that they're fully informed of the proposed changes. In accordance with PRC rules, the proposed changes were posted on the PRC's website prior to consideration and were recommended to you by the PRC at their June 6, 2019 meeting. Madam Chair and members of the committee, I would like to bring your attention on the requested deletion of the Assistant Director from the county class plan. This is yet another example of the classified position that is vacant, whose duties have been redistributed or incorporated in some new unclassified position created by the county. Our broader concern, Madam Chair, is that we have identified at least 13 additional classifications that have been replicated in part into new unclassified positions. And we want you to be fully aware of this erosion of the county's class plan. We've discussed this very issue and potential remedies with you and some members of the committee in the past, and welcome an opportunity to do so once again. Madam Chair, as you know, I no longer routinely ask for second reading suspension of the rules unless there's a time-sensitive recommendation before you. This is one of those times. The Corrections Lieutenant is a new classification requested by the Sheriff's Department that needs to be filled as soon as possible. Therefore, I'm requesting a second reading suspension of rules. Also, Madam Chair, members of the committee, I want to bring to your attention the Corrections Lieutenant once again. The FLSA status listed before you states that it is an exempt position, exempt from overtime. At the request of the Human Resources Director, we have revisited the classification and the duties performed by this classification and would like to change that exempt status to non-exempt and allow this position to be overtime eligible. Therefore, if you are amenable, we would need a substitute resolution, I believe.
All right, thank you very much. I'm going to open it up to my colleagues before we do that, to determine if we would like to proceed with a non-exempt status of this position at the recommendation of the PRC. Are any questions, comments, or concerns regarding that request for amendment?
Chair to Albert, could you explain non-exempt a little bit for me?
Yes, so essentially, Madam Chair, Councilwoman Conwell, the FLSA is a duties test. We look at the duties performed by individuals that would be in this particular classification and determine, based on several criteria, whether the position is going to be eligible for overtime over 40 hours or non-exempt, which would be, or exempt, which would be exempt and not able to earn overtime. And in this particular case, the lieutenant's position would be eligible to earn overtime.
Okay.
Okay, and currently, what is the range?
The pay grade assignment for this classification is 11. I don't have a salary schedule in front of me, but I can certainly email you that once I get to the office. It's pay grade 11 on Schedule A.
Okay, so this will actually have an impact to the budget. Are we aware of what that impact would be?
This position is vacant. They're looking to fill four lieutenants' position. 2 would be reporting to each of the associate wardens. Currently, these folks would be supervising these corrections sergeants who are also overtime eligible. If we did not, or if the exempt status would stay the same, most likely the sergeants would be earning more than their supervisors. So it would create an issue with the salary compression for both classifications.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns with regards to making a motion to amend this item to make it a non-exempt position? So moved. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. If there are no questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, the amendment has been made, and we'll make the record on we'll have that reflected on the legislation. Are there any further questions, comments, or concerns with regards to the amendment? No? Okay, so then I'll make a motion to move this to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. Do I have a second? It's been moved in second. Councilman Miller, do you have a question, comment, or concern?
I do.
Yes.
I would like to make a motion for a further amendment, and this is in light of the concerns that Mr. Bouchonine raised about the erosion of the class plan, concerns that I very much share. And therefore, I would like to propose to amend this resolution by deleting the portion that says proposed deleted classifications and delete Exhibit E, and also in the whereas clause where it says and recommended classification plans attached here to as Exhibits A through E, change that to read Exhibits A through D, and that we would just keep this item in the class plan pending further discussion of the relationship between these duties and unclassified position duties, and I think there should be a broader discussion of this whole question. So that's my motion, and I would ask if one of my colleagues would second the motion.
I will second the motion. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns with regards to our council colleagues' motion? Thank you, Councilman Miller. I think you make a valid point. All in favor of the motion with regards to deleting Exhibit E and amending this legislation to read A through D, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, excellent. So now that we've had the two amendments, the motion has been made and seconded with regards to moving the legislation forward. If there are no additional questions, comments, or concerns with regards to the amended legislation, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very
Thank you.
much. You're very welcome. All right, Council Clerk, if you'll read item A into the record.
Resolution number 2019-0135, confirming the county executive's appointment of Anthony G. Tavrell to serve on the Cuyahoga County Community Improvement Corporation Board of Trustees for an unexpired term ending 1/1/2022.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Holly, if you'll give us a little bit of background and share with us this recommendation.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 1724, on behalf of the County Executive Armin Budish, he would like to nominate Anthony Tavrell for appointment to serve on the Cuyahoga County Community Improvement Corporation's Board of Trustees. This is a 3-year term, and he will be replacing Tanya Menessy. The Cuyahoga County Community Improvement Corporation was incorporated in 1982 for the sole purpose of advancing, encouraging, and promoting the industrial, economic, commercial, and civic development of Cuyahoga County. The corporation serves as Cuyahoga County's review agent for industrial revenue bond financing and economic development lending activity. And today we have Mike May here with us if you guys have any technical questions regarding the Department of Development loan programs or the CCCIC's role.
Before we ask Mr. Tavrell to step forward, do I have any questions, comments, or concerns from the committee for Ms. Holly or Mr. May? All right, then. Thank you very much. If you'd like to share a little bit of background and
Thank
state
you,
your name
Madam
for the
Chair.
record. You're welcome.
Michael May, I'm the Economic Development Administrator for the Department of Development. Basically, I'm the chief staff person that works with what is the Cuyahoga County Community Improvement Corporation, which was, as was just stated, is the entity that is used as our loan committee for all economic development lending purposes and also for industrial bonds. Before you today will be two of the remaining two vacancy of the filling of those two vacancies by two recommended board members to you, Anthony Tavrell from KeyBank and Susan Enfeld, who is right now the interim director of the Cuyahoga County Planning Commission. Essentially, again, I don't. Many of you know the economic development program that we have in the Department of Development has a whole array of programs. The chief sort of set of programs are ones that emanate from the Job Creation Fund, the lending capital that we have to put to use as mostly gap financing lending for economic development projects of all stripes, whether it's small businesses, business expansions, equipment purchases, things that allow the growth of business, attract them in, as well as lending for real estate projects, brownfields. The real estate projects being anything from the development of a new headquarters for a company to mixed-use projects projects that would run the ilk of the Church and State project, Lumen, a number of projects, the West 25th Street and Detroit Shore, we call it the Corridor. Those are the things that we have been lending to. The Job Creation Fund pretty much emanates back to 2011 and 12 when the new government was formed. At the time, the fund was called the Western Reserve Fund. And again, it's our chief capital pot for doing this activity. There's a modicum of activity that we do with regard to partners, nonprofit partners like the Economic Development and Economic Community Development Institute, where we provide some money to them and they blend it and do micro loans. A few other things that we do, ancillary things that we do with the Grow Cuyahoga Fund and some other partnerships. But the mainstay here is lending to these endeavors that require a great deal of underwriting. We are very serious about the vetting that we do on these projects. We are a bank for all intents and purposes in that way. And it's very important, the role of the Cuyahoga County Community Improvement Corporation, i.e. our loan committee, which was actually instituted back in 1987. The county decided that that was the body that would do this, run this purpose. They do a great job. They meet once a month, and we take all of our economic development lending to them, and they review it via the staff work that puts together loan write-ups and our application forms and all of the investigation that we do on a project. Typically, it's almost exclusively we are a gap financer, meaning that we are somebody that comes in and fills gaps after a primary bank or a primary lending provides capital, and there's still a shortfall with regard to getting the capital needed for the value of the project, and you know, at friendlier terms that they would get in the market.
Okay, thank you.
So that's where we are, and today you'll be hearing two recommended appointees for.
Well, while
for
we
that
have
board.
you up here, thank you very much. Can you tell us what amount of outstanding loans we currently have relative to?
Well, right now, our portfolio has about 250 loans in it right now. But
250
again,
loans?
250, right. That, again, reaches back to the actually mid-90s, so our portfolio is quite expansive going back.
In our collection rate success?
Collection rate is terrific. We have an under 2% default rate. And again, as many of you know, there was sort of a re-upping of the procedures and policies that got us to a place of knowing where everything stood with regard to all of those old loans, new policies and procedures that have been put in to make sure that everything going forward, and that's been in place now for about 9 months, is again vis-a-vis the underwriting and the vetting that we do on loans, right down to the servicing of those loans to make sure that we get paid back. So we have actually a loan management portfolio operation now that was instituted about a year or so ago, and that official office and division deals with all of the processing, making sure of our security, collateral, and then making sure that the debt service, principal, and interest proceeds, and that we get our loans paid back on time and to a finish of closeout.
Okay, and of those 250 loans, what's the largest amount?
The largest loan that we've done is $3 million loans.
For which project?
There was a project, Equity Trust in Westlake, that was a major headquarters. I'm trying to think now if there were any others of that level, but most of the time the loans, again, we've done about 70 loans during the time of the new government and lent about $70 million. So the average of those loans is about $1 million. But again, that's an entire spectrum of, we do very small business loans of any, something like $250,000 up to those kind of $2 and $3 million levels.
Is there a cap?
There is a cap, yeah, $3 million.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, Madam Chairwoman, Chairwoman, as you know, and again, I can provide this to the committee, we have a whole series of a cadre of programs and products that we do. So there are different specifications for those programs. So if we're dealing with business, small business, we won't be lending more than, say, $500,000 to those entities. Major projects like the Equity Trust program that produces a lot of jobs and higher paying jobs and is very, very well collateralized and securitized could get something in those $1 million or $2 million ranges.
And I'm guessing you probably wouldn't know this offhand, but if you could kindly provide the committee the breakdown versus Cleveland, how many loans have been placed in Cleveland?
Yeah, I approximately know, Madam Chairwoman. I would say that we, all told, and again, it depends on where you want to start, whether we're talking 2011 and on, or this administration, 2015 and on.
A separation would be good if you
Sure,
could show us the
absolutely.
old government versus the new government and give us a breakdown of
As a matter
Cleveland
of fact,
versus
we're putting that together
outside.
right now for the Economic Development Committee, so we
Excellent.
can provide that to you.
I'll open it up to my colleagues. Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns? Councilwoman Conwell? Okay.
Through the chair to Mr. May, who and where are the minutes kept for the meetings?
They're actually we have those operations managed by the Greater Cleveland Partnership. So they are actually, they provide us with a venue and also do some of the financial workings, but they also, the business secretary of the board is a Greater Cleveland Partnership person. Again, that was a sort of a thing that was assembled years ago. And again, Greater Cleveland Partnership is involved somewhat with providing advice to us with regard to appointments of the private class section of our board. But they're the repository for the minutes. They take the minutes and they repository. They are public though. They are retrievable. They are open to access.
Public would have to do a public records request?
Correct. But we
Okay, and how
responded
long would
very
that
quickly.
usually generate and turn around?
Yeah, a week, no more than a
Okay.
week.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. If we could have Mr. Anthony Tavero please step forward. If you'll state your name for the record, give us a brief background about why it is you'd like to serve on this particular board.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Anthony Tavarell. Quick background on myself. Lifetime Clevelander, born and raised in Brecksville, Ohio. Attended Brecksville Broadview Heights High School. Went to college at Akron U. Studied commercial finance. After school, I went to work for Fifth Third Bank in a commercial finance position, particularly commercial real estate. Spent about 13 years at Fifth Third Bank and joined KeyBank just a little under 3 years ago in a similar position. My career has been again dedicated to commercial finance, which I think lends itself very well to the assignment here on the committee. I'm proud to serve the community in this capacity and think that my skill set on an ongoing basis, regularly evaluating and administering commercial loans would be advantageous to have in this committee, as I understand the intention is to be the review board for loans that are presented to the CIC.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the committee? I see here that you, like you said, you worked at Fifth Third Bank, and now you're currently with KeyBank with a $250 million in commitments. Is that correct?
It's actually more than that. That's about the annual production
Okay.
that we bring in on the team.
So with this position, Mr. May talked about referred a little bit of it almost sounds like a little bit more leniency as it relates to the key or our standard banks. What is your position or thoughts on as it relates to that?
Well, I think so. Any project, whether it be a commercial real estate project or a business lending, request, there's always, commercial banks have their criteria. They're generally senior secured lenders, and they have strict credit policies. And a lot of times, a project or loan request won't quite fit into that box. So there's a kind of gap financing that would be needed, which is what I understand the committee can come in and sort of approve. So, we look at it one way as a lender and then another way as sort of a bridge or a gap lender.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions? All right, well, we appreciate you coming down. We knew that you were a new appointment and you were previously on our last agenda, so we thank you for making the time. It's always an honor and a privilege for this committee to be able to put a face with a name and to actually hear and learn about the nominees for recommendation and the experience and enthusiasm and desire to serve that they bring. So thank you very much. If there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, would you like this second reading suspension?
I believe we would. I believe they have orientation coming up for the new board members the week of July 15th.
Okay, so we'll move this to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. And if there's a motion been made, do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. If there are no questions, comments, or concerns from the committee, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you very much. This will move to the full body of the council. And Council Clerk, will you read the last item?
Thank you.
Resolution number 2019-0148, confirming the county executive's appointment of Susan Infeld to serve on the Cuyahoga County Community Improvement Corporation Board of Trustees for an unexpired term ending 1/1/2021.
Good morning. If you'll state your name and give us a brief background why you would like to serve on this particular board.
Thank you. I'm Susan Infeld. I am a native of Chicago. I have a degree in finance, and I'm going to follow the same pattern that Anthony had used when I first got out of school. I worked for, and it's not even on my resume, Kemper Financial Services, which is now a division of, I think, Deutsche Bank. But I worked on unit investment trusts, some financial analysis. I moved from there to the Federal Reserve Bank in Chicago, where I did work as a financial analyst. Moved here to Cleveland, got involved in political life, served as councilwoman and mayor in University Heights. And as mayor, I was responsible for all economic development activities in the community and was actually a consumer and a referrer to businesses or a referral source, I should say, to businesses for the Department of Development loans. So, I'm very excited at the prospect of being able to serve on this committee. With my background, I think that, I can contribute a lot.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And I have a tremendous amount of privilege of being able to work with you on the Planning Commission, which leads me to one question. You're currently serving as the interim executive director, and if that should change, will you still be able to maintain this position?
I certainly hope so.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I also.
I'm getting a confirmation from Mr. May in the back, so.
I also see in my position at the Planning Commission as interim director or, as manager of special initiatives, since we work with communities and agencies throughout the county, just being able to serve as that referral source to them of these loans and also being able to explain, how they work and how they would benefit them. That's something, since the Planning Commission planners are in and out of cities all the time, that's the type of advice that we give to communities anyways. So this would actually, I think, help our institutional knowledge and serve us in a positive way, and then also the communities we serve.
Excellent. I'll open it up to my colleagues. Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns? All right, I think we're all pretty familiar with you, so thank you. Thank you for coming forward this morning. And I will make a motion to move this also to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. If there are no questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, excellent. This will also move to the full body of the council. Does the committee have any miscellaneous business they would like to share? There being none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.